What is up, you guys? My name is Tracy and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, take a look around. If you like what you see, make sure to hit that like, subscribe, comment down below, and share this out. All right, today we are going to have a conversation. I have come to a conclusion, and I think that it is time that I move on from the current situation. I know that I've made quite a few videos on Jessica. I've shared pretty much everything that I've had. It's just time. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to try and do something else. I have other content in mind, and I feel like it's just that time for me. I hope that nobody is upset by this. I hope that you all know that I'm still here. I am not going anywhere. And if anything new comes up or comes forward, then we'll talk about that when that happens. Besides that, I just think it's time to move on. I know that so many other people are kind of doing the same thing, and I'll tell you why I think that is. I think that everybody's seen the video Jessica put out. I watched about half of it. That is all I could watch. The first half of what I watched, it was, to me, in my opinion, gaslighting and emotional manipulation, and very clear that there won't be any accountability or responsibility taken for anything. And I'll address some of that here later, but I think that's kind of why everybody just feels defeated, because she's not going to own up to any of it, no matter how black and white it is, which is kind of my position as well. You know, I have brought forth so much stuff and nothing. I mean, so many of you, I am so grateful. I am so happy that I could help so many of you, and I'm going to share an email in this video. Sorry about that. My cat decided it was time for him to make his debut. So, anyway, the email. So, yeah, I'm going to be sharing an email with all of you that I received that just, it touched my heart. It made me cry. It made me realize some things that I didn't even notice or realize, throughout all of this. So I'm going to read that to you all so that you can hear. It'll explain so much more to anybody than anything I can say. So that, I think, is important. I am going to address a few things that Jessica brought up in her video. Just kind of quickly, because I don't want to dwell on all of this. It's literally beating a dead horse at this point. Now, if any of you want to, create a channel or take your platform and, speak on this, I'll be here to support you. And like I said, I am not going anywhere. You're welcome to anything I have. If you want the originals, please, just email me and I'll send you the files. Whatever you want. But it's just time for me to stop. So, anyway, as I was saying, I am going to address a few things. The chomo thing, beating up a chomo. Jessica, you've said yourself that you elbowed a guard. Trying to switch that up now and say that it was just noise, because there was no actual evidence of any fight. All they heard was the noise. That's why it was a noise complaint. You've said yourself you elbowed a guard, you got pepper sprayed, and that they took you to the hole and wrote you up for fighting.
So you're always guilty. It goes to disciplinary court, and every place is different, but this is essentially how it works. You're written up for something. If it's a minor disciplinary, you're probably chilling in the unit still. You're not sent to the hole. If it's a major disciplinary, like fighting, you're sent to the hole. This was a fight that occurred in the bathroom, and I'll get there. And they originally wrote me up for whatever it says on the thing, and then I went to the hole. I get sent to the hole in Wrightsville. They send me back to McPherson, and when I went to disciplinary court, they gave me an additional 15 days on top of what I was already doing. I was already doing my time in the hole on investigation in Wrightsville. So whatever. But the reason why inmates fight in the bathroom is because there's no cameras in there, and all they can prove is we're being loud as shit. That's all they can prove. So just instinct, I went bam, and I hit the cop kind of in like the chest area or stomach. And, I kind of like did that and went, like, I realized, like, you just hit the cop. So she backed up and two other guards backed up and they sprayed me, like, in the face almost. Like, they kind of reached their little spray can around and sprayed me. And I immediately stopped what I was doing. I got, like, a direct hit of pepper spray, and the chick I was fighting got it, and we're coughing, eyes are running, it just burns. And they kind of got on top of me, put me in handcuffs, and dragged me to SAG. Cuffs off, and the other officers leave to go write up their report and all of that, because when there's a disciplinary report or a fight, there's a lot of paperwork that has to be done. They have to write me up and give me a copy, and it's all this stuff. So
what's up, guys? Editing Tracy popping in here real quick. Okay. So the whole Chomo deal here, I just showed a whole bunch of stuff. You got to see that her, when she left and all that stuff for, to go to SEG. It says she spent 15 days in total. You can see the levels of those things. But my biggest thing is that she would have never been in contact with somebody who had child molestation, or if she calls them a chomo, she would have never been in a population with somebody at Wrightsville who had those kind of charges. When female inmates have those charges, they are taken to McPherson for a sexual offender female something. It's a program thing for female sexual offenders, especially of children. So she would have been in McPherson already. Jessica would have never been in contact with somebody with chomo charges. Wrightsville is a minimum level security prison. Somebody with those charges would not be held there. She went to McPherson when she first got there for her classification level, which is what everybody does. You go through McPherson for a classification. They send you to your home prison. I know all about this. I had somebody very close to me who went to prison, and I went through it all with them. So you go there, you get classified, you get all that, you go to your home prison. Her home prison was Wrightsville, Hawkins. She was in the SPU, which is a special program unit. They do mental health, things like that, people with stuff that have issues, things like that, physical ailments. So she would have been there because she was pregnant. After she gave birth, she went to, I believe she was moved to just the regular population. I'd have to look back at it again. But when she got that disciplinary, they took her from regular Wrightsville, Hawkins, over to the SPU section. She was there for a few days. Then she was transferred to McPherson. She had her hearing. She was given the 15 days. She had already spent the 15 days at the day that she got found guilty. She already spent her 15 days. And because she dropped a class level lower with those disciplines, she had to stay at McPherson the remainder of the time. That's it. That's it. There's literally nothing that says she ever touched a chomo. And as far as there not being any evidence, a guard spraying you with pepper spray, you elbowing a guard, they would not just let that go because there's no cameras. Their statement is evidence. I went through the whole entire manual and all of that. Their statements are the evidence. So if you elbowed a guard in the middle of a fight with a chomo, that would be our evidence. If she deployed her pepper spray, that would be evidence. Somebody would be, black eyes, busted faces. That would all be evidence. Bruises, all evidence. They have to take pictures of all of that. There would have been more than enough evidence to convict you and put you in for a disciplinary if you had gotten into a fight. It's that simple.
Wrote you up for fighting. That, the uno reverso, you snitched. You continue to do this thing like you're bigger of a criminal than anybody else. I can tell you now, you had 4 charges in New York. You had 4 charges in Arkansas. New York, the district attorney wiped those out for some reason. Arkansas, something that you like to do, and I noticed that you like to do this. You always say when somebody asks you about your time in prison, you always tell them that you got 5 years, 15 suspended, 40 years exposure.
23, I'm sorry.
And what did you get arrested for? This is in Arkansas now.
This is now in Arkansas. I got arrested for possession with intent to distribute. So I had 2 ounces and they hit you with intent, delivery of meth, and simultaneous possession of drugs and a firearm.
Wow. And so you're standing in a court and the judge slams down the gavel and says guilty and sentenced you to how long?
I was sentenced to 5 years, 15 suspended with 40 years exposure. That's a lot to say that if I ever commit another felony again, I am going under the jail. And
finally, it was around 6 months when they said that my new plea and my final plea would be 5 years, 15 suspended. And I just thought, please give me that paper. Please let me sign that paper. And I signed it so fast. I mean, I was so grateful for that.
First of all, the 40 years exposure doesn't exist. You never acknowledge this. You got the 5 with the 15. The 5 years, you say, I spent half of my time. You either get half or you get a third. Well, that is not true. That's not
So give me
true.
an additional year to get custody.
How long did you spend in prison for this? Well, you got there, you were in jail first, you made the plea deal, they gave you 5 years. You had to do a third of your 5 years. Is
I
that
had
right?
to do 50% of my case. So some people get a third, some people do 50%. Since mine was a little bit more serious, I did 50% of my time
Okay,
and
so
served the rest on parole.
so let's see. So you went to prison 2 months later. You have your daughter. Then what? 2.5 years later, they let you out.
I served a total of 2.5 years.
But besides that, that's how you say it so that it sounds better, like you've been there for more time. Instead of just saying, I was convicted on 2 charges, possession and delivery, because that's all you were convicted of. And I spent 1/3 of my time. I mean, it's black and white. And I hope that at some point you can acknowledge that and just be respectful to everybody. We are not dumb. We've seen it. And you'll hear it in the audio clip that I have. But
How long had you served then? How long had you been in prison, the complete time?
2.5 years. I had to serve 50% of my time.
Right. And so at the point that you'd given birth to your little girl, how much longer after giving birth did you stay in prison? How long had you been separated?
Oh gosh, was it 18 months?
Gosh. Okay,
Maybe a little.
But in those 18 months, Jessica,
I just need to verify like the length of incarceration.
What's his last name? Hold on.
It's a female. Her name is Jessica Kent, Kent.
Oh, but you don't know her birthday, huh?
It's 9.
This lady done been discharged.
Yeah, it's old. It's nothing recent.
She left prison on 4/11/2013.
And she went in 4/11/2012, correct?
Yeah.
But, you act as if you are more of a criminal. And you say that in the criminal world, snitching is XYZ. Giving up a supplier and your connects, all of that. That's not the truth. The truth is that incident report, which I know you like to say that it's only one person's version of things, which that's not true either. If you read it, there are 5 people's, 6 maybe, their perspective of the situation and one person writing it down. They all said that you conspired, that you are the one that thought of this. I mean, besides that, it says you told on Randy, Randy told on you, which is, again, in another report, which is the same report, just added a little more. It said again. That's snitching. No matter what way, even if it's the way you said, you still snitched. You still told. And then you ran. And then somehow your charges got dropped.
Okay, guys, sorry, just wanted to pop in here real quick because I seen this and it says that, it was a waste of resources. Actually, that's not true. The district attorney there told me that they only do that if new charges are coming or if there's something else being worked out. They don't actually do that for any other reason if there's still a possibility of charges to come. And in this type of situation, he did not see any reason why they would have just been dropped. He said generally that's if other charges are coming down the line that are, worth more and they can combine them, things like that, or there's something else at play. He did give me, information on the records for that, and I am just waiting on those.
But here's the thing. You're telling everybody, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm reading. I don't know how to read these things. You do because you had time in the criminal world. Do you realize that my very first arrest, my charges were 8 pages long? I had 18 felony burglaries, 18 felony conspiracies, and 18 felony thefts. I think I know what I'm talking about and know how to read my papers. I did it a lot. So to tell everybody I don't know what I'm talking about when I do, and that's not my only arrest ever. I have one for controlled substances, 4 of them, which I really actually had a lot more, but they only gave me 4 of them. Those are convictions. Those are actual convictions, not just charges. I was convicted of all of that. I know what I'm talking about. So to continue this perpetuating this lie of, she's reading things wrong. She's not sharing everything. I am, and I am. I mean, it is what it is. The New York shit, I don't care. It's all just more dishonesty. You'll hear the lady from New York say that you don't have sealed records and all of that. I don't care. Nobody really cared about that. Everybody wants you to acknowledge that you lied about Arkansas. You made the comment that everybody wants to know how long I did altogether. Well, nobody has said that. Everybody has said they want to know why you're lying about Arkansas. Okay, so this, Jessica makes the claim that she was taken from the jail or prison. I can't remember. I think it was right as she was going into prison. May 1st. That she went to testify on a case about her money that she had taken from her. So the police report that goes to that case number actually brings back a theft case. Court records will clear all of this up, I'm sure, and those are on their way. But as for right now, that number that she went to testify on, that incident report for that case, shows that it was a theft case. So I'm not really sure how it happened. I don't know why she was there to testify. It looks like the theft was slightly after she went to jail. So I don't know if somebody told her something and she was testifying on it. I don't know. And I'm not making assumptions. I am just giving the facts that the incident report that matches that case number that she left to testify on is for a theft, not for her getting her money back. But I'm sure court records will clear that up once they come through. Never mind the, chained to a bed, not chained to a bed. You've said yourself you weren't chained to the bed, that it was 5 hours later, 4 hours later. It is what it is. The only thing I don't like about that is that, it's dramatizing something that's already traumatic. So why do that for content?
And I stayed in the hospital for 2 days with her. The very nice corrections officer had to leave. It was her shift change. And a new corrections officer came in. And she chained me to the bed.
Chained you to the bed? So in all the time you'd been there, given birth, had become a mother. So you were no longer Jessica, the teenager who ran wild. You were no longer Jessica, the prisoner who was disruptive, or Jessica in denial. You now had become a mother, and a loving mother, because this child had changed your mindset in the moment that you'd given birth. You'd been around correctional officers who didn't feel there was a need to chain you to the bed. And this new one comes in 2 days after you'd given birth and chained you to the bed?
She came in like 4 hours after I gave birth. And my wrist was chained. I was chained to the bed almost the whole time, I believe. Eventually, the nice guard, she realized I should take this off of her. But it really wasn't affecting my ability to give birth because I was kind of holding onto the bed anyway. So the handcuffs weren't bothering me. She did take them off for a couple of hours. So when the new corrections officer came in, I had given birth. Time moves differently after you give birth because you're like in this bliss and like euphoria. 3 hours, maybe 3-4 hours. And that's when I was chained to the bed. My legs were chained. And that's protocol. You have to chain inmates to the bed if they're in an outside facility and they're getting medical treatment. But I had an epidural. I just had a baby. I can't run if I wanted to. And I wanted to. I did want to run away. But it was really hard. That new guard that chained me, she was very mean to me, very nasty. She didn't want to unchain me to go to the bathroom. She refused the doctor's orders when they said that I had to walk around to help my body heal. She said, that's against protocol. I'm not unchaining her to the bed to walk around. Now, I didn't fight back because I'm holding my newborn baby. I do not want to make this officer mad. I don't know how they're going to react. And I have to.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I keep popping in like this. It's just as I'm editing, I'm seeing things and I'm catching things that I didn't during original recording. So I did catch, I didn't get to watch the second half of Jessica's video. Like I said, I couldn't. I did go through and like just jump through just to see what was, because I saw there was stuff on the screen. I did catch this and I'm a little bothered by it because I am not trying to gaslight anybody on their story. I find these facts and I'm questioning things because of it. And the last thing I want to do is question somebody's story about their child's birth. So I'm going to say something. And here in a second, just please listen. The questions I have are because of the things that have been said. So when you say, I was chained to a bed and things like this, these dramatics, these exaggerations, it makes it hard to believe what's on, what I'm hearing. And Jessica, I hope you're hearing this. And nobody else even needs to hear this. If they don't want, they can skip through. When I heard you tell your story on Christina Randall's channel, the moment that I felt like, when you told that story on there, I felt you in a different way than I have ever felt any story you've ever told. When I hear you tell this specific story about Micah's birth, I actually, for just a quick minute, I feel a connection to you that I don't ever feel anywhere else, in any other story, and any other, just never. When you talk about I don't know, like when you're talking about going into labor, how you were feeling that moment when you gave birth, how the guard told you to look at her and how you saw her with all that hair. And I feel a connection for a moment to the story. And right afterwards, you then go into how I was chained to a bed, or, it goes into other issues, which I understand wanting to get those issues out. It ruins the story, because it feels like at that moment when you start doing that, you cut off the connection, and all of a sudden that story goes into some, not glamorization, dramatization type of thing. So, when I hear you say, they didn't let me out of bed for 2 days, I, was in pain because of it. It caused problems for me walking, things like that. Then I'm questioning, well, there's shift changes in a matter of 2 days. You mean 8 different guards? If there were 4 shift changes, 2 guards per shift, none of them listened to any of the medical staff. None of them got you up to go to the bathroom and let you walk around. We have a prison very close to a hospital here. I have a family member who works there. They're very accustomed to inmates, as is that hospital. They get them coming there, when there's a female prison nearby, they're used to that. So, and the Department of Correction says that guards are not a middleman. They do not play a role in, labor delivery. They're security. So an inmate would have that, it would be medical staff and the inmate discussing the care. Whether that happened here or not, I don't know, and I'm not asking about that. What I have an issue with is that in a matter of 2 days and how many shift changes, not one that got you out of the bed. And when I'm thinking about that, it takes away from what I just felt, and it ruins it all for me. I wish that for just a moment you would, I wish, I know I heard recently you said that, you glamorize, or not glamorize, I keep saying that, that you dramatize, that you exaggerate, you embellish. You didn't tell people that from the start. And it's only come up now recently that now you're saying, yeah, I may have over-exaggerated things. But if you had just been honest from the beginning, if you had told your story, if your story was just you as a normal kid, had, a rough childhood or whatever, you didn't drink, you weren't addicted, you got into some shit later on, like 17, 18, 19, whatever, without all the dramatics of it all, your story would be just as important. That moment when I feel that connection in your story about Micah and all the hair and all that, I would have followed that person and supported that person just off of that story without all the crazy dramatics, without the chained to the bed, without the not getting up to go to the bathroom, being shoved in a wheelchair and wheeled out like it was, Armageddon, thrown into a prison van. Like, all of that just ruins it for me. And I'm not everybody. I don't know. I'm sure there are so many people that grabs hold of. But for me, I think your story would have been so you would have done just as well off of just the truth. And I'm not trying to call you out in this moment and say that you're lying and your whole story is a lie. I'm just saying that there was never a need to dramatize, exaggerate, and overblow and be dishonest. None of that. Your story would have been good enough without all that. And I hope that you can think about that. And if you could just go back to that moment when you seen Micah with all that hair and that feeling you felt, put that into all of your videos and be just as honest as you are in that moment. Take accountability for anything that you may not have been honest for. I think that you would have all the support in the world to, take accountability, step up, and tell your real story. And I'm not trying to call you out in this moment and just like, you're lying. I'm just trying to be honest with you on how I feel, and that's only my opinion. I hope that you can hear what I'm saying and that you hear me, really hear me. Because I think you have an important story to tell. I just wish it was the real story, in my opinion. That's it. I'm sorry for rambling on, guys. It's just that when I watched this, it caught me off guard. And I had some different emotions when I watched this. And when I read that, it's all women attacking, I think you're taking us as attacking, but I think so many of us we know what we would have done or what other loved ones would have done, and the stories don't make sense. I think that's why you have so many women out here yelling that this isn't right. Something's wrong here, because we do know. That's why. So yeah, I apologize for this interruption. I'm going to get us back to the video. Thanks, guys. Let's see. What else? You gaslit the shit out of me, and everybody for that matter, when you said that because I doxed your family, which I tried 3 different times. I took that video and edited it to try to get those things all out. If I missed something, I didn't mean to. I apologized for that, and I meant it. I didn't have to take that stuff out, but I did, and I worked really hard to try to get it out. And YouTube editor sucks, and that's what I was using. I didn't do it intentionally. So to tell everybody that it was like I was doing it on purpose, I wasn't. I didn't mean for that to be left in there. Besides that, you tell everybody that because of all of that, you have people coming to your home. You have people calling child services. You play videos from back in March when I wasn't even on the platform. Videos you took down, by the way, right before you made the claim that that's what's happening. You told everybody that because of all this is happening, but you're showing stuff that happened months ago from videos you already had on the platform that you took down. You're gaslighting everybody by doing that. Why wouldn't you show new videos of people on your porch? You have a Ring doorbell. You've showed videos. Jason have showed videos. You have cameras. Why is it now that you have to show these old videos and pretend as if they're new? Just like the child services call, saying that it was somebody calling and saying you're on YouTube. I have the 911 call for that, where they talk back and forth and talk about how this person has been calling over and over for you. I have his voice. It's your ex, nobody from the internet, not me or anyone else.
Outside of the internet, I'm not just getting a couple of bad comments and an email. No, my friends and family are being doxxed. People are coming to my home.
I just had some questions for him. I'm just curious about. What? How do you know what you live?
So this just happened.
I just had some questions for him. I'm just curious about. What? How do you know what you live? There are websites on the internet that can be used to research citizens' contact info.
This is not the first time that this has happened. This is probably the 3rd or 4th time that this has happened. And he seemed real sweet. And in any other scenario, I would love to talk to him and answer any question that he had. Because of everything that I'm going through already, it's just really hard. It's just really hard. So please don't come to my house. Please don't come to my house. Please respect my privacy. Please respect my space. This isn't like the only thing going on either, so it just sucks. So I love y'all and I want to talk to you guys, but please don't come to my house. Please respect that boundary. Please respect my privacy. And yeah, but if you see me in public, I'd love to talk to you. And I love it. I'm grateful for all of you and I love y'all. It's just, this is a big one for me. This is a huge one for me. And I'm not okay with that. So please don't come to my house. People are calling DCFS and Child Protective Services on me.
Like I said, it was anonymous, but it alleged that you were a YouTuber, that that's how the person who called you all the information.
You cut this clip off here, but you and I both know, as well as I'm sure many other people who saw the video months and months and months ago when this first happened, there was additional, conversation here. She tells you that if this continues, you have the ability to contact them and have it flagged. I am going to talk more about what can be done there about that, but for some reason you cut this off here and don't play the remainder of the clip. You only play that tiny little bit because you know that that's not everything, and the remainder of the call tells you a lot more. The other thing that I am confused on here is that this call was March 10th for the what she is saying, and along with the Aurora 911 dispatch call log, it states that the person that called was at March 10th. So this is a different instance than back in January with all the, craziness surrounding the diluted urine and such.
It's like a dumpster fire of stress. I'm bad at intros.
I'm back again, guys. Okay, so this situation with DCFS and with people showing up at her house, she is attempting here to make it sound as if this was happening because of me doxing her family. I've never shown her address. I, made every attempt I could at getting, her family's address off those public records down. I've already brought this up, so we're not going to go into that, but as far as this, Jessica, this stuff happened back in March. I'm going to show the 911 call log. You'll see where it says that someone said she was a YouTuber, blah, blah, blah. And you're going to hear the recording that came with that call log for that call. You're also going to see that Jessica posted these before I even came on to YouTube. So to say these things were from me, these were happening in March. This stuff was from March. She took these videos and clips down, reposted them, I think twice now, maybe. But she's taken them down and reposted them because these incidents of DCFS coming to her house, that was March 10th that happened. The person showing up at her house was also back then. So to pull them down and then use them now as if they are new instances of these things happening. This stuff happened before I was ever even made a video on here, before I ever spoke Jessica's name. So to claim that it's my fault or that these things are happening because of the things I've done, because of what I've shown of her record and her dishonesty is absolutely false. And to blame somebody for that is absolutely disgusting and completely just... How do you blame somebody for people coming to your home and for DCFS showing up at your door when you know for a fact that those instances, especially the ones you're showing, are from your ex?
Well, please, I can help you.
Yes, I need to know if you can go by the welfare check, and I'm wondering.
Hold on, sir. Hold on. This is Aurora, Illinois. Is this where you're trying to call or somewhere else?
Yes, no, Aurora, that's where I'm calling.
Aurora, Illinois?
Illinois, yes.
Okay, do you have an address over here? Okay, and then who are we checking on? How old are they?
That's got me worried. No, she lives in Aurora.
Hold on. You know, all right, what's your name, sir? And a phone number? Okay. Do you happen to have a phone number for the residence at all? With a
No, I don't have her phone number. It's actually, I'm sorry?
no, that's fine. We'll get somebody to send back the address. Okay. Okay, sir. We'll get somebody out there. We'll go check it out.
Will you let me know?
You can call back. Give us about half an hour or so because it's a little bit busy, but we'll get somebody over there.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, sir.
Aurora Police.
Hello, how are you doing? It's Officer Mellett with the River Grove Police Department.
Hi.
I'm sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know really even who to talk to about this, but we got an anonymous tip from Aurora, Colorado. There's somebody we're very familiar with that said that was smoking meth with children at 17.
Okay.
We just did a report on it. We're going to contact DCFS. Can you turn that down? We're going to contact DCFS right now. I don't know if you guys want to send an officer over there to do like a well-being check or something.
What's the name of the guy?
There's 27 right here if you want it.
Okay, go ahead.
And then I also have her 27 if you'd like.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
And like I said, we are all too familiar with not only the caller who tried to call Aurora, Colorado.
Okay.
We know that with oh, we are familiar. Yeah, we'll see him again in a week, so I don't even know why I'm wasting my time calling you guys, but we have I don't have their DLBs or anything. But we just we have a case report on this if you want us to send it over to you.
Right. No, that's okay. If we need it, I'll note that on the ticket, and if they want it, then I'll let them know. But I've got a couple guys on the way over there, and okay. And a callback number for you at the PD?
That's probably going to transfer you to our dispatching. We have like multi-jurisdictional dispatch, but they'll tell me to call you back if that's okay.
All right, perfect. All right, we've got a couple guys on the way over there. We'll see what we can come up with.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
I wouldn't call child services on you. I did, however, call their media department, their media relations person, and I asked a question. I said, if somebody in the area is getting, these constant calls, harassment, do you guys have to investigate that? How does that work? What are their options? She said, well, if we're getting a lot of calls on somebody, we'll investigate it. But if they get several, more than one, unfounded reports, which you said you had 3 unfounded reports already, and you have 3 new ones, I guess, that you can call them. First of all, you can have it flagged, which that lady tells you in that call. But not just that, you can call them and they'll tell you who it is. She said once there are so many unfounded claims, they can tell that it's harassment and they'll tell you who it is. I don't know if you know that or not, or if you've called, but my suggestion would be that you do that. And I would record the call because I am certain that you're not going to hear me or anybody from the internet on there calling on you.
I guess it would be, do you guys, if you get a phone call with just like a tip, I guess you'd say, either through 911 or a direct call to your emergency services line, do you investigate every tip, or does it have to be a, what's the word I'm trying to think of, a credible tip, or how does that work?
Normally they will investigate every tip that comes through, depending if it's somebody that we've had before or not. But yeah, normally they're all investigated.
There's somebody that's a pretty large public figure. She, back in January and February, there was, relationship issues, things like that separated. And there were, I guess, an abundance of calls to child services for like welfare checks and things like that on her. There's been, I guess, recent things that have come up. One of the things that she shows is a recording of a child services worker telling her that somebody had called her, it was anonymous, and they told people that she was the DCFS worker, she was a YouTuber, that they had to look into it. And they told her how to go about reporting that, they were kind of like harassment calls for no reason, really having no actual credible tip just saying that, this happened online, this or that happened, and, we're reporting her. Would something, if she had filed and said that there were like harassment, people calling and filing fraudulent cases, would that be more looked into instead of just constantly going and investigating cases?
No,
Okay.
she would be investigated every time.
I was just more curious about if they would continue to just keep investigating basically, especially
If they find too many unfounded, though, then they will. The person that's if they find too many unfounded cases, then the person that it's being reported on can actually call and find out who, they can go through and find out who's reporting them and stuff like that. So, but that depends on if they're unfounded or if they're indicated.
Well, she was showing documents saying that at least one of them was found unfounded. She says she's had like 5 or 6, and I would assume they've all been unfounded, but just my kind of guess on it is that people are telling them that she's using and abusing drugs with her kids in the home. I mean, I don't believe that that's the case. I just think that that's what's being said. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much it then. I mean, I don't think there's really anything else. I was mostly interested in just finding out if they would continue, but that actually helps a lot. That she would be able to find out who it is if they keep continuing.
Yes,
to
if they're continually unfounded. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate your help.
Hey, you're welcome.
Have a good day.
You too.
That is what we are talking about. You get onto your platform and you do this sad face and you act as if this is just the most devastating thing on earth. But then when you talk to Peter Mon a little while back, you say, Peter, I don't know what to do. This was as soon as you started posting all the videos about the, alleged DV situation. I'm not going to say anything about that. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm just bringing it up because of this scenario. You tell him, I don't know what to do. He says, why are you putting it up? You say, because this is what everybody wants to know. My supporters want to know about it. He tells you, well, I'd tell him I'm shutting it down. He looked at your comments and said, Jessica, nobody wants to know about this stuff. They're telling you to stop. But you doubled down and told him, no, everybody does want to know. And he said, is this for the views? You said no. So, he comes back 3 days later and sees that you've put 3 more videos after he told you to shut it down, to stop doing it. That's what he would suggest. You told him it was great advice. But then you go and do 3 more videos.
Very clear. I get very confused when I watch YouTubers that, I had somebody say to me years ago, that they, and don't guess because this person's not even around anymore, but they said, because it didn't work for them, they said, I don't want to cover drama anymore, I want to be the drama. And so then they started attempting to be the drama, right? And this was back in the day of, Trisha Paytas sitting on kitchen floors crying and things like that. And so, if you want to get a lot of views on YouTube, it's easy. You talk about all the drama of your life, you hype it up, whatever, okay? This was at the point where Jessica was going through some very difficult times with her ex, and that's all I'll say about that. And so she reached out to me because she was getting a lot of comments about it, and people were saying things because she was making videos about it. And so she reached out to me and said, I don't know what to do with this, right? The suggestion that I gave to her was to shut it down, to stop talking about it, and to go back to her old old videos of what she was doing, where she was talking about prisons and what happens in prisons, because that was what people watched from her originally. Now, I do know that those videos where she talks about her ex and situations with that, which was very problematic, okay? I mean, I'm not going to excuse anything that happened in that relationship. I think he has a lot of issues. Like I said, I'm not going to get into the details of it. And quite frankly, I don't know enough about it to get into the details of it, except for what the brief things that people send me from time to time and what I've seen, and what she told me on the phone. But at that time, I said to her, she was like, I don't know what to do, blah, 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 whatever. And I said, well, why do you keep on talking about it online? And she said, well, because my audience wants to know about it. Well, when I went through her comments while I was talking to her, people were saying, why do you keep on talking about this? Why do you keep on talking? I said, Jessica, people aren't wanting you to talk about this. This is very, very personal. Well, what I realized was it was garnering her a lot of views, okay? Was to talk about personal things that were very dramatic in her life was garnering her a lot of views. And I said that to her. I said, are you doing this because of the views, or are you doing this because you want your audience to know? And she stood behind the fact that she felt like her audience really wanted to know what was going on with her, which might be true. I don't know. But she at the time asked me, she said, what do you think, you're a drama channel. This is what you talk about, blah, blah, blah. She was like, what do you think that I should do? And I said, I think you should shut it down. I think you should make it very, very clear that going forward, I'm not going to talk about this anymore. I'm not going to talk about my ex. I'm not going to talk about this. I have safety for myself and safety for my kids and safety for my well-being and my mental health and my future going forward. I'm not talking about this anymore. This is my last video talking about it. Maybe once a month I'll do an update, but other than that, I'm not talking about it anymore. And she was like, well, that was really good advice. I really appreciate that. And I said, go back to what you were doing. Go back to what you love, because this is too much for you. You can't handle it. Oh, I'm so thankful. I really, really appreciate it. Blah, blah, blah. I looked about 2 days later. She said she was going to make one last video, and that was going to be it. I looked about 3-4 days later. She'd uploaded like 3 videos talking about it. I was like, she don't want to hear it. She don't want to listen to it. And so I just completely distanced myself and stopped talking about it. I still am compassionate to her. I'm still kind to her. I still follow her on social media. I hope the best for her. I don't think this is healthy for her to continue to talk about this, and I've said it to her, and I'm saying it to you. So I have nothing to hide from. That's how I feel about it. I don't watch her videos. I don't engage in the drama. I don't know about the drama. She was telling me all kinds of things about girlfriends of exes. I mean, I was like, girl, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I literally do not follow this at all. And so, I don't know anything about it. I don't know anything about her life today. I wish her all the best.
I told you, everybody's wanting me to talk about you because we had our thing together when we were, supporting each other, whatever. You tell him, say whatever you want about me. You can talk about me on your channel. That tells me that you wanted him to talk about you. That you wanted him to spread this like wildfire through drama channels. This possible domestic violence situation, you want him to share that? You want drama channels to come in and start talking about that? That is not right to me. None of that, any of those videos were right to me. And that's what brought me to this conclusion. Something's not right here. Because my thought process is that you were saying you hoped he got better. You wanted him to get better. You wanted him to go to rehab and get on track. What happened if he would have went to rehab, got better, come back, begged for forgiveness, told you he wanted to be in the girls' lives, he wanted to continue to be a dad, fought for that? What happens if this man comes back and was being a great man and you just smeared his name and destroyed him all over the internet? For what, views? Views? That's what I didn't want to, I didn't like about it all. That's what it felt like it was for. It wasn't for the greater good or to talk about your story, because you could have waited until it was all settled and shared your story. I've shared mine. But mine's been years ago, and there's no children involved to get hurt. Because what happens when one of their friends' parents see these videos and their little friend wants to come and play with them, and the parent's like, no way, this is a possible problem. Because you shared all that. That's the issues I have. I would love to see you take accountability for the lies that you've shared, the misleading things and manipulation, all of that. I know it won't happen. I'm not holding my breath. I just hope that you can come to the conclusion that you need to do it for yourself. And I hope that you heal from all of this. But it's not going to happen unless you take some responsibility and accountability for the things that you've done. And that's all I have to say about it all. I can't continue to do this. I am moving on. I know that I'm talented and I have skills and I know that I'm smart. Nobody's going to make me feel like any less of somebody because I shared stuff to somebody who says they're a victim here. But that doesn't make you a victim for this stuff. Just because I've called you out for these things and you're saying you're a victim for this doesn't mean that I'm victim blaming because I'm calling you out on this stuff. That's it. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and roll into the email that I received. Other than that, guys, thank you all so much. I hope that you all will stick around and see the new content that's about to come. I'm excited. I cannot wait. And, I think it's going to be an amazing, amazing thing. I love you all so, so much. And just a final thought for all of you out there. Stay truthful, whatever that looks like to you. I love you all. Bye. For nearly 25 years, the National Domestic Violence Hotline has answered the call. Over 5 million calls, chats, and texts have been answered to date for those affected by relationship abuse on the hidden epidemic of domestic violence, supporting and advocating for survivors, providing hope in times of crisis, and promoting healthy relationships for all. If you are in a relationship or a situation where you do not feel safe, please reach out. They can help. They offer resources for shelter, food, clothing, all of the things that you could possibly need to get to a safe place and out of danger. Again, these numbers will be linked down below. And if you are in one of these situations, I ask that you please reach out for help. You are worth saving. You are worth helping. Hi, Tracy. How are you? I want to start off first by thanking you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you have done so far in researching the facts for exposing the real Jessica Kent. I am a survivor of extreme narcissistic abuse. I mean survivor in the deepest sense, emotionally, physically, spiritually. One of the most intense pain that I've suffered was the gaslighting. I believed I was crazy, and I was unable to see the situation for what it was. The darkness that engulfed me because of that is immeasurable. I am not 100% out of the situation because he is active in our child's life, but after 10 years of intense therapy, at the beginning I was seeing someone 3 times a week if I could afford it, just so I would not kill myself over the torture of my situation. I am over the hump. Not down the hill yet, but the hump has been crossed. Jessica Kent is very triggering for me in many ways. Because of this, I ask myself, why am I invested? Why do I care? Why am I thinking about someone I have never met? Why don't I just block her and everyone talking about her for my own peace? I watch all the videos and read all of the pages. I am searching for something, but what? And then there are my actions. I have become an active commenter on pages. I almost never bothered to even like a video of anyone or thing before all of this. When I make comments, I often go to back to edit or delete if I can find them, and that's another rabbit hole. I am humiliated with how I've conducted myself online as my rage that I thought I had healed was spewed out, and I act out all of my own integrity. I can say some really mean things. In my personal life, I am known as a kind person because I am a kind person. I am baffled that after the years of therapy and my own personal convictions that I'm behaving the way I do. I have been carrying a deep shame over this. I would be humiliated if anyone in my personal life knew this was me. However, I have a clue. This clue is something I suspect to be true for so many others who are invested and hurt with this random content creator who none of us have met or care about. One thing I have noticed about myself in all of this is that I'm responding to her and her videos as though I was back in my own reaction to my abuse. This is how raw and real this situation is. This shows the depth of what residual long-lasting effects from narcissistic abuse looks like. This shows how dangerous and sick Jessica Kent really is. Then this week it hit me. The reason I am so invested in Jessica's being exposed is because my abuser was able to abuse me for so many years unexposed, or so I thought. My abuser has never had any repercussions for the absolute torture he put me through. My abuser still taunts and torments me to this day, and as far away as I am from him, both in home proximity and in my healing journey, I still feel helpless. I still have physical reactions to him. Just last week I had to see him, and I ended up laying in a cool dark room to focus on breathing and regulating myself because of his picking at me. He literally had his phone out. He was hoping to get a response from me to get his endorphins hit off of a video footage of me being crazy so he could get sympathy for being a victim. To watch in real time someone who so closely resembles my child's father be held accountable as much as we've been able to do for her actions, for all of the pain and suffering that they cause people, gives me a hope that I didn't know I desperately needed to continue to heal. So many parallels with these two. Classic narcissism at its finest. My therapist told me once off the record that my abuser was one of the worst cases of narcissistic abuse that she had ever encountered in her 35 years of talk therapy. He has gotten away with absolutely everything and continues to hurt people and exploit people, and well, just everything Jessica Kent is. I have been writing and rewriting this letter because I don't know how much personal information is relevant to the reason I'm writing to you. I guess at the end of the day, what I want you to understand is that you're my hero. I want to tell you that you are doing the work of a warrior. I know you have had to suffer from this. I know you question yourself in all of this. I know that you have put your sanity and your mental health and your reputation on the line to do this. I see you. I recognize that. And I deeply, deeply appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I am not a malicious person who would get any personal pleasure off watching Jessica Kent be hurt. That's not why I want to see her channel removed, and for the people to see the truth. What I do want is to help create a better world for all of us to live in safely. The more people like Jessica Kent that have a platform and are idolized, the scarier the world. I truly wish she would get some serious help and healing and stay away from the public until she has something of real substance to contribute to the world. The fact that there are people like my ex and Jessica Kent walking around unhealed and taking advantage of vulnerable people makes me sick and scared. I've experienced both physical and sexual abuse in my life, but nothing was more damaging to me than the narcissistic gaslighting I've suffered through. I believe Jessica is dangerous, and not in the I'm a big bad queen pin type way that she so desperately wants people to think she is. Her danger is subtle and manipulative and twisted and sickening. She encompasses the meaning of a snake in the grass. Tracy, I don't know what it will take for me to close this chapter in my healing. Thank you for being strong and steady in all of this. Thank you for being a pillar of hope for people like me. Thank you for doing actual research that can't be disputed. Thank you for holding yourself to a higher standard. Thank you for combating her trash with your class. My hope is that you will expose her enough to have people demand her channel be taken down so that she cannot continue to spread her poison to vulnerable people. Jessica Kent's message is a cancer to society. I do want accountability for her actions that really do affect other people because I care about the world I live in.